Please listen carefully.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hypothetical Siblings podcast. My name is Nick.
My name is Lainey.
And Lainey. I already just realized that I did the bit that I was about to do to, get us into the week. I was about to be like, there was a week. Time passed between the last time that we saw each other and now. Things happened in that time.
You do that bit.
It's a good bit.
Is it a bit? That's just asking me questions.
Yeah, but it's kind of a bit because you're asking in it's fun, campy, radio show host energy, you know?
Okay.
It's a bit. Don't
it's a bit, okay?
Don't make fun of me. I'm tired. I've had a long day. I did work this weekend.
Me too.
For capitalism.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And then I came here and had to hang out with your dog ass.
Dog ass.
Dog ass.
Yeah, dog ass. Yeah. I have a question for you also.
Is this relevant to dog ass?
Relevant to nothing.
Okay, sure. Yeah, hit me.
If you and I were Ryan and Sharpay from High School Musical, wouldn't you be Sharpay?
Yeah. I don't like that that's the case, but I would for sure be Sharpay. Between the two of us. I don't think I'm Sharpay. I think between the two of us, I'm probably Sharpay.
Right, yeah. If we had to choose. You're not a Sharpay, but
and
you
I
and me.
I don't really think that you're Ryan, but
rude.
What is that? I don't
He's got a flair.
Remember any...
He's got a flair. Also, can you can't deny he's gay.
No. Of course, yeah.
Yeah. I don't dance. I know you can. Dear audience, this is because we were singing. Well, I was singing High School Musical before we recorded.
Prior to the start of the podcast, Lainey just starts belting out High School Musical.
Mm-hmm. I think you said something to trigger it, though.
You're right. It is my fault. I should be sorry.
Yeah, you should be sorry because now I asked you this and there's no going back.
No. I don't even really remember. Why did we get on? I'm so, it's hitting me now that the microphone is on and it's demanding that I speak into it.
You're a little sleepy boy.
Yeah, I'm a tired boy. I did
boy.
A big work today.
Yeah.
Which really, I didn't do any more work than I usually do on Sunday. I mean, when I work, right? Yeah. Big, long Sunday. And it's later even than last time that we did this. We were almost done with the podcast the last time that we did this last Sunday. But the people are not here to listen to me bitch into a microphone.
Bitch.
So tell me things about your week, and then I will tell you things about mine, and then the people will hear them.
A lot of my friends got kittens.
I don't know why. I know because you told me this earlier, right? We didn't really dive into the depths of it. The K sound coming out of your mouth, like the K-I, I was ready for you to say kidnapped. And I was like, you're really calm for someone who has a lot of kidnapped friends that they need to go deal with.
No. It's hard because I want a kitten and I can't have a kitten as of this moment.
Okay.
But what's stopping me besides being a responsible person? Mm-hmm. Nothing.
Yeah. Well, it's every intrusive thought, right? Nothing's stopping you from diving through that window right now. Besides the fact that you probably shouldn't, it would hurt, and then you would have to pay for the window.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, but it's hard watching all of these cute little babies, be around me. I got to meet one of them in person today, and he's just a love, it hurts me. I want one so bad.
That's understandable.
But it's just not time.
Yeah. Yep, I get that. At my work, we are now very strongly into hunting season, not just for large animals, but for birds as well. And so people have been bringing in their new bird dogs, right? Which their new bird dogs are probably sub-year mark, certainly, but in the good 8 months type of range, right? They're starting to be semi-intelligent as opposed to just forces of chaos.
Yeah.
But they're all these really young, German Shorthair Pointers and Labs and, all these things that just have lots of energy. They just want to go get a bird, We have, big goose decoys that are electronic and flap their wings. and the dogs hate it. They hate it with everything in their being, and they sit there and just shout at it. They shout at the strangeness. But it's also like, oh, here's wiggly little happy dog that you want in your house.
Yeah.
So
one weird thing about my job is that, of course we see a lot of puppies, but then time goes by so quickly when you're not seeing them consistently, especially, and all of a sudden a grown-ass dog comes in and you're like, you were just a baby. You were just a little tiny baby.
What you're describing is being like a parent.
Yes.
Or like a grandparent.
Yeah, but I feel like it's accelerated because dogs, age quicker.
Well, yeah.
So there was this little, oh my gosh, she was so cute, a little golden retriever puppy named Pearl, and she was all like, she got the chub, and she's like white, yellow,
yeah, like that blonde kind of, yeah.
Just came in to get spayed, which we do.
Just gotta get that uterus out, bro.
Yeah, and ovaries.
Well, yeah, you take the whole bit. You don't just leave them in there.
And it was just crazy because she's like real. She's a real grown up now. And I remember when she was just chunky little thing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You're literally doing like the old people. Oh, how time flies. They grow up so fast.
But tell me it's not true.
It is true. The time marches on and we are subject to its whims and we are all dying slowly.
Wow. Morbid. You're a little.
I'm just
I was going to say demure, but I don't know if
that's not what that means.
Not what
that's
that
like
means.
Shy in kind of a sexy way, I think.
Oh my God.
Which, you know what? Maybe I am. Fuck you.
Ew. Please don't talk to me like that.
I'm saying it to the room. I'm not saying it to you.
Yeah,
like, you're the only other person
yeah.
in this room, but it's not for you, you know?
I mean, yeah.
I could be shy in a sexy way if I want to.
Yeah, probably
Fuck
true.
You.
I'm not putting limits on you. I just don't want you to talk to me about it.
Yeah, all right, that's fair. That's understandable. I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
So what else besides existentialism and puppies have you got for us?
I saw Hairspray in the musical.
Okay. That's cool.
Live, which I have, of course, seen the movie with Zac Efron and other, famous people. Michelle Pfeiffer's in it, John Travolta, Christopher Walken.
I don't think if you took a crowd of women, and I'm not talking like a crowd, like if you took 7 women and told me to identify Michelle Pfeiffer, I would not be able to.
That's so valid. I mean, I didn't know who she was until Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Is it the Wasp?
She's the mom. She's Hope's mom.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I didn't know what she looked like until then. Like, I knew of her, of course. Everyone talks about her.
I've heard Bruno Mars.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Me too. And I think they make reference of her on Stranger Things because there's like, oh no. I was thinking Farrah Fawcett. That's my bad.
Okay.
Which I also don't know who that is, but it's
yeah.
So, yeah, lots of famous people in the movie, but I hadn't seen it live. It is so enjoyable.
Yeah.
I had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am really not a musical theater kind of guy, at least in the conventional sense. Like, I don't know, things like, we've talked about Mamma Mia on here before, which I have gotten lit up in my personal life, by the way. There are people that have, like, threatened me, with having to sit down and watch Mamma, which I'm fine with. Like, I will watch the movie. You know, it's better to have my own opinion than just rely on that of someone I heard on the internet.
So true.
But the Mamma Mia, the Hairspray, Rent apparently is psychotic as well.
Rent's so good.
But these things do not appeal to me. Whereas I think it's called Once is the one where there's the Irish guy and he runs a vacuum shop and there's the, I want to say, Bulgarian woman.
Oh my God, I know nothing about this.
And then we went and saw it. It was one of the ones we saw at our theater.
I literally do not remember this.
Like years ago.
Oh, that's probably why.
Yeah. But we went and saw it. Like, that one was really good because it was very like hopeless romance type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want to be together, but there's just no way. And then they don't end up together. Like,
really?
Like real life sad end.
Yeah.
And not like cry your eyes out sad, but in this very like
just hopeless.
Yeah, totally. But in a very honest way, right? Like, they both come to grips with the fact that they cannot be together.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I remember liking it there, and then I guess spoilers for not Fault in Our Stars. What the fuck is it called? La La Land. La La Land's the same way. right? Well, that's a musical too for much of it. Still a very good movie, but it ends in that same like, we had our love and it didn't work, and now we have our own lives and we've achieved our goals, but those goals were separate of each other.
Right.
You know? So definitely not a thing to watch like when you're sad, but I think that there's value in those stories because so much of, you know, what is put out is the heroes always win and these kind of stories, and there's no cost to anything, you know?
Yeah, that's, I mean...
Like, I think in Civil War, right, in like Marvel.
Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America Civil War. I think that people should have died, like on both sides.
I was expecting for Endgame, I was expecting way more people to die.
But you know they can't because they gotta take them and do shows and all the other shit.
Right. Well, it's about being lucrative and continuing the everything.
No, you kill just a little pickety pokety type stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So musical theater. I mean, of course there are silly shows like Book of Mormon and you know
that's true. Yeah, I definitely like the comedy ones.
Right. But there are so many of them that are focused on really being like moving. And even those that are silly, like Hairspray for a majority of it is just like funny, enjoyable, you know, but then it talks about the civil rights movement and segregation in it. And
I think that art has always lent itself to social change.
Right.
I think that's one of the big points of art is introducing people to concepts and you know, it's in a medium that is a lot more digestible than for some people than protests in the street or whatever it might be, because it's being presented very gently, I guess. Even if it's not gentle in the show, it's still in a show, and so people can kind of dissociate it enough to not, you know, want to recoil from it, but still, you know, interact with it.
Right. I feel like it's a good way to push social change a little bit in a I don't know, like chiller way.
Right. It doesn't, because, you know, you get, I mean, don't be wrong, the people that are upset with, you know, the protests and things like that when they are relevant, good, righteous protests, maybe just hate whatever the protest is about, which you're not changing that person's mind. But I think that there is a subset of people that see those things and resent it for the tendency towards, you know, potential of violence or disorder or whatever else it might be. Which I will not sympathize with, but I can understand.
Right. It's or something as little as you're blocking traffic and I got to get to work. Fuck out of the way.
Yeah.
You know, and when it's presented as something, and not to say that those things aren't necessary,
right?
Because I think that they are. But when it's presented in a more, I don't know, like what's it when it's easy to palatable,
yeah,
in a palatable manner, you know. For a lot of people, it's sometimes easier to relay that message, you know?
No, absolutely.
Well, and like, it's funny when, you know, a lot of people come out as gay, a lot of their family will be like, oh, it like in this movie, in this show, in this.
Right. Well, it's how people relate to stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Well, and I think that's a, you know, facet of human history is we teach through stories, right? Our morals and lessons, things like that. We tell each other not just, you know, that it is right to do this thing, but we make examples in fiction or whatever else of very similar events, you know, and it's a way that we can relate. So again, if your nephew or whatever it is comes out as gay and you don't really know what the deal with that is, but you're like, hey, I saw a movie with a gay kid in it,
right?
Like that, right?
I watched Glee.
Yeah, they're like, yes, Glee, and you know, that's at least a touchstone, a starting point for that, you know, part of that relationship.
Yeah, and I think it's also like why a lot of queer people are moved towards theater, because it's a way of like expressing yourself without necessarily outing yourself.
Right. Well, it's always been a home and a safe space, right? I mean, look at so much of theater, musical or otherwise, thespians in general, right? You know, you have that creative space to play roles that are not yourself, or if even to escape your own troubles.
Right. Yeah. And if you're good at something, like if you're a wonderful singer or dancer, people will value that, you know.
Right.
A lot of the times, regardless of
Right.
your personal
Oh,
life.
absolutely. Right. I think that, people of the LGBTQIA plus community, they, there are people that become famous because they are good at what they do, right? You have your Elton John, I believe, things like that, where you're presented with this person whose music you might really like, and maybe you are uncomfortable with, members of that community or whatever it is. But they are becoming a bridge for you to connect with that community and not be afraid or uncomfortable or anything else.
Right, totally.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
Weird side tangent from Lainey saying she went to see Hairspray, but I think valuable nonetheless.
I also want to let you know that Dad said, so traditionally, Tracy, the main characters...
Be careful to out father on the podcast.
No, I think it's fine.
Okay,
I think.
Sure. All right.
So traditionally, Tracy, the main character in Hairspray's mother, is played by a man. In the movie,
What?
John Travolta plays the mother. And I said, hey, Dad, if you had the opportunity or whatever, would you play Tracy's mom? And he said, yeah.
Absolutely. Why would I not want to do? I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's
But
hilarious.
all I can imagine is Dad doing like a Ms. Doubtfire.
Well, they always choose a huge guy because the whole thing is Tracy is plus sized.
Yeah.
And
Big girl.
her mom is too. Yeah. So they always choose a huge man.
Giant.
Like John Travolta's 6'2".
I didn't know that. That makes me significantly more afraid of John Travolta.
Yeah. Put him in heels. Put a huge pair of fake tits on him, and a moo-moo, plus it's in the 60s, so it's like a beehive situation.
Yeah, make him taller.
Yeah, and then there's all these call-outs during the play that's I'm Tracy's mom, and in the deepest voice he can go and stuff. So funny. So I just really enjoy that.
That's a good time, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else you got? So you got kittens, you got Hairspray.
Mm-hmm. I didn't really do much other than that.
That's fine.
Went to
it's
school.
Only a week, yeah.
And school's been kicking my ass a little bit.
Yeah, in terms of what you are learning, or is it just pure volume of work?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
I'm taking more challenging classes this semester, and then also on top of that, I'm just constantly doing homework.
Sure.
And if I'm not, then I'm up till God knows what in the morning, or I'm not fucking doing it. Which this semester I haven't not done anything yet, so that's
nice. Good. Very good.
But yeah, I'm just always doing something. Every day I have to do something.
Yeah, no, I feel that my schedule has become very busy to the point that I have something potentially, there's a fluctuation of the schedule on a biweekly basis, but there is the potential that I have something every night of the week. Thankfully that it's in a rotation in which I should have at least one night of the week open every other week. That night changes, but I should have one night open at least.
Which honestly is important, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but you gotta have a break.
I consider myself to be ambiverted, right? So not extroverted, not introverted, but I need to take my time, recharge the social battery, and then go unleash that upon the public, I guess.
Unwilling suspects.
Exactly. But, I need that time to sit in a room by myself without anyone there or contacting me and just read a book or write in my journal or do whatever it is that I like to do for me.
Right.
Not something that, I find that even video games that I would otherwise play with people, I don't like playing during that time.
Yeah.
Because I think it has an association with being social or
Totally.
having to do it with
100%.
other people. So I'll play, instead of competitive military shooter number 423, I will play a little kingdom building thing where the people are little peg people on the life board, and you just make a nice little kingdom, and sometimes there are dragons and you shoo the dragons away.
I just recently became aware of cozy gaming. Did you know about this?
I feel like I can discern what you're talking about, but I am not familiar with the term.
It's just like, games that are...
Yeah, an Animal Cross, Stardew Valley.
Exactly.
Sure, yeah.
And there are like people who specifically play cozy games, like, that play video games on the internet or whatever it is.
Oh, it's like a genre.
Yeah, it's like a genre.
Oh.
And one I just saw it's like a potion making game. And you like make potions for people and stuff like that.
Behind that.
I want to play it so bad, but
sure.
I don't know if it's only on PC. And
if it is, I can make that happen. That is a very easy thing to do.
Okay, yeah, because I would enjoy that, but I don't think the capability of doing that.
I think you probably have the capability. I mean, I don't know what this thing looks like, but if it is as simple as you say, you very well might have.
No, not the gameplay, but the technology, like PC.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
So depending, I mean, if it's like 2D renders and stuff like that, obviously your laptop can handle it versus like a fully realized 3D environment or whatever it is. So.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's my IT guy.
Yeah. She called me the IT guy. I'm not an IT guy in basically any sense of the word. I mean, I am probably more familiar with technology than maybe the average person is, but not that.
I literally texted you the other day.
You did.
And I said, hey, Nick, this happens with my computer. What do you think? And you said, I don't know. Sounds rough, though.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that shit sucks. You should probably take it to somebody to get that fixed.
Yeah, you should get that fixed right now.
Yeah, but my week was cool, too. I had school. I did a capture lab for school, which meant I got to shoot dart guns, which was super dope. Just neat stuff. It's nice to get hands-on with the thing that you're learning about in any context. I mean, I am very much if I can see it and feel it and touch it and interact with it, I will retain information so much better than just reading PowerPoint slides and everything. And I understand that that's a lot more feasible, is the PowerPoints and everything like that, and that's why so much of school is geared that way. Holy shit, is it so much harder. I mean, for me at least, right? I know that there are those people that is what they prefer to do, and I don't know how that person exists and does that, but
no,
good for
because
them.
I think you and I are similar. We're both very visual learners.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's probably a touch of the ADHD, but hey, here we are.
Hey.
What else? I did the capture lab. I did a bunch of work. I had a really gratifying moment at work this past week where working where I do and doing the fishing, hunting, shooting, whatever, it's nice when you either can connect with a customer about the thing that you like doing, or you get to set them up with gear that you are otherwise unable to afford. And a gentleman this last week bought my dream gun, which is $3,000. So not only was it a good sale for me, but it's also, I get to get excited with that person about that thing.
Right, yeah.
And wish that I was that person. So that was really cool. I don't know if any of you guys, and I guess this is free advertisement, which if you want to advertise here, please let us know. But Green Chef is an online meal kit delivery service, basically.
Like HelloFresh.
Yeah, like HelloFresh or I know there's a bunch of other ones, but whatever it is, right? So Green Chef, the reason that I chose them specifically is their meals are geared to be healthier, not objectively healthy necessarily, but lots of veggies and proteins and things as opposed to just carbs. But on top of that, they are carbon neutral as a company.
I love that.
Which is super cool. Mm-hmm. So because that was part of, besides the cost, right? That was one of the things that I was really worried about in regards to those meal kits. So I was like, that's so much plastic and pre-portioned and everything. I don't know. It just kind of rubs me the wrong way to just do that because
it's more convenient for me.
Yeah, is really what it comes down to. And the other thing, too, is they send you the recipes, right? That you just get to keep.
Right.
And so you might use all of the ingredients that they send you, but there is nothing preventing you from going and just doing that again.
Right.
So my plan is to do that for a month and a half, maybe 2, and just collect a good book of recipes from it and then just run. Because that's enough that I can cycle out a bunch of stuff and not have to worry about getting sick of whatever it is that I'm eating. I made pho on Friday. like Vietnamese pho. I made it in a
Look
pot.
at him.
Don't be wrong,
Chef
it was very
boy.
chaotic. I was on FaceTime with someone the entire time, and them just watching the chaos that is me trying to cook.
Probably was like a show.
Yeah, but like a hidden camera TV show. Like not a Gordon Ramsay. Not a Gordon Ramsay where it's very professional and dramatic and there's lots of everyone know. No, this was like we hit a camera in Nick's kitchen. What? And there's like wacky like sounds playing, like slipping,
Whoa.
like spilling a bunch of water on the ground, whoa, like dumping it on myself. So that was fun. Rat-tatouille, exactly. Other than that, not really. I've been having crazy ass dreams.
Oh my god, me too.
Wild ass
Me
fucking
too.
dreams. Most of which involve being prevented from doing something or being lost or held hostage, which I don't think speaks to good things in my psyche.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's one of those where and not nightmares even. Like not
Just stress.
like it's just stress. I'm not scared while I'm having these dreams. I know that I'm going to be okay. But just weird being in a situation, like even real life situations that I have been in recently or whatever it is, but now there's just someone like walking around with a gun guarding me. Yeah, there's a weird, we're at a family barbecue and there's 3 men that are armed and there are police outside.
What?
Yeah, but not putting the gun to anybody's head and,
Right.
offing them or threatening, just hanging out. Like they're patrolling, they're guarding.
Right. They're on duty.
You can't leave for sure, but it's very gentle kidnapping.
That's gentle kidnapping.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you thought I was going to say kidnapping earlier.
Maybe. Yeah, my brain is just fucked up and whatever.
My weird dream was about me and like our family unit, so the 4 of us.
Nuclear family.
Yeah, nuclear family. Going to see like this cabin because we knew that Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, what the fuck's his name? Elon Musk.
Okay.
And Jeff Bezos were meeting there. Like having a meeting there.
Please tell me what our plan was for all of the billionaires of the world?
We were just fans of them. So we went
Cringe.
there. Yeah. I want to say that this is not who we are.
No.
But we went there and we're like, we didn't get there in time to see anybody go in except Elon Musk. And I was like,
Lame.
give me a signature. Like, and so I don't know what that means, but
What did you have him sign?
he didn't sign anything, that
What did
bastard.
you try to have him sign?
I had like a Blue's Clues notebook.
Like the notebook from Blue's Clues?
Yeah.
With like the big red crayon and everything?
Well, no, it was a pen, but it just was a similar notebook.
Okay, sure.
So that
Weird.
was upsetting when I woke up because I was
that's
like,
upsetting to me now. That's
Right.
not, yeah.
because what does it mean? Because that's gross.
That is gross. That's really gross, actually.
Yeah. And related to our topic this week.
Or are we just, is that the segue? The segue?
If you want it to be.
That's fine.
I don't have any.
You don't have any other.
I don't have any
All
other.
right, yeah. I don't have
So true.
Right. Relatable. Hashtag relatable. So yeah, our topic this week is chosen specifically because it is something that's kind of floating around I get to use one of my favorite words.
Zeitgeist. Knew it.
Right now. I love that.
That
you
was
knew
not
that.
rehearsed.
Why did you know that?
I just know you.
You just know that I like the word zeitgeist.
Yeah.
How do you not like the word zeitgeist?
It's not that I don't like it.
It makes it sound like the public sphere of information and talking points is like a big electro ghost that's like floating around the sky.
It's not that I don't like it. I just never remember to use it.
I can respect that. There's lots of words that I know that I will hear again and then realize that I like that word and use it for a week and then forget that it exists forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so because it's in the zeitgeist, Elon Musk I guess Tesla, but he's a, megalomaniac.
Megalodon.
He's not he is confirmed. He's probably not a megalodon.
Probably not. Who
But
knows?
he has revealed his megalomaniacal human replacement robot Tesla bot thing.
Bastard.
I mean, it's not inherently evil.
I'm anti-robot.
I'm also anti-robot. I'm pro-cyborg, anti-robot.
What about... This is
Do
sort
it.
of a
No,
tangent.
do it.
The movie robots. I'm pro the movie robots.
The one with Robin Williams is the red guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a banger song in that movie, bro. I don't know. I'm not going to sing it for you.
Okay.
But it's going slightly viral at the moment, and it just hits.
Robots comes back around in 2022.
And I hope
That's
it
like
does.
a 2006 movie?
And I feel like it didn't perform very well.
No, that feels like some straight to DVD.
I mean, we had it on
shit.
DVD.
Yeah, because it was a banger.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally
So
anti-robot.
pro-cyborg, pro-movie robots, but still anti-robot.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I don't know if I'm pro-cyborg. I mean,
Technically, we have cyborgs now. I mean, I know we've had this conversation on here, and we
Yeah.
don't need to have it again. But technically, anyone that has any part that is not people put into them for increased function is a robot.
right. Yeah, and I'm pro
cyborg,
cyborg
rather.
for medical reasons, for disability situations.
Yeah, well, I mean, prosthetics is all one thing, right?
and
But
like
I want
pacemakers.
I want things to enhance me.
Right. See, that's what I'm not too jazzed about.
That's dumb.
What if you get hacked?
The other. Well, don't have shit that can murder you if you get hacked.
But you want sword arms.
Yeah, but the arm, if it's just the end of my arm, right? If it's just my forearm, then it can't. I still have control of where the sword is, so I can just hold it out away from my body.
Interesting.
It might be like slicing forward and back, deploying and undeploying automatically. See, I've thought about this.
I've not thought about this.
You were foolish
You're
to
right.
think that I have not thought about this.
Yeah, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Who am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so TeslaBot has been recently revealed, and we want to discuss with you, oh treasured listener, the potential of a robot uprising and what that might look like. Now, where do I buy the robot killing bullets? Because that shit's free morally. In fact, it is the moral thing to kill the robot, especially if it is anti-humanity.
Right.
And that shit sounds fun.
Right. Well, exactly. Like, because in another rising up situation like zombies, which is, I guess, is not rising up. It's like,
I mean, they might
apocalypse.
literally be rising up out of the ground.
There's like, maybe not a moral question, maybe a little bit, but like, there's not the conflict. Because like in Walking Dead, for example,
Sure.
I don't know what character, I don't know, but I remember a scene where this guy is hesitant to shoot a zombie because he like knows her or something,
Yeah,
or
that's
it's his
not a
wife
person.
or something.
All this fucking, this used to be my wife or my daughter or what. Fuck you. Shoot the zombie. That's
Yeah,
not a person
Carol.
anymore.
You remember that? Carol from The Walking Dead, keeping her like little Zambi daughter in the barn.
No.
Well, fuck that.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
But yeah, like, so there is no moral question. Even though Nick's opinion is that that's not a person anymore, there are people who believe that.
Yeah.
And then there's always the question of, what if there's a cure? Oh no.
They're decomposing. But we're also getting off topic to zombies.
Right.
We were talking robots this week.
Right. So that is taken out of the question.
Yes.
It's a robot. It doesn't have feelings. Let's just kill it.
Now, I want to challenge that only because I just thought of a thing to challenge that. Now, in the case of, for example, Terminator, what happens is that Skynet is an AI. It is an artificial intelligence that is created, which, depending on, you know, the fiction and everything else, an artificial intelligence can think, can theoretically feel. What is to differentiate that from being a person, right? So if that AI is either creating other AI or is inhabiting the body of every one of those robots, do you feel differently about shooting the AI? Because
No.
I do a little bit, but like I'm still gonna shoot it.
So what's interesting is that
I sound like a fucking caveman. This podcast.
the movie Free Guy, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
funny, touches on this because the character that Ryan Reynolds plays, the blue shirt guy, he is living AI. And the big company man, Taika Waititi says, nah, man, shut it down. He's ruining the game.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, it's this amazing thing, like first living AI.
Mm-hmm.
And I see value in that, but I've also seen Avengers Age of Ultron. And yes, these are where my opinions are coming from.
Well, so here's what is probably going to piss people off is, I don't know about you, but I have a good guess as to what your answer is going to be. Have you seen iRobot?
No.
Neither have I. But that movie deals directly with this, of robots becoming people, effectively. So instead we're doing Ultron and Terminator, things of that nature. I also want to know, so you have a suicide pact with our mother.
True.
If there is an apocalypse that involves a predator of any variety, that you will both just kill yourselves on the spot, which I think cringe, but whatever. Does the robot uprising qualify as predator if it is actively trying to destroy humanity?
Here's the thing. My thing. I'm going to wait around for a little bit to see what's going on. Because if it's complete societal collapse, a la Walking Dead, a la A Quiet Place, for example, where we're, how do you come back from that? And some bad shit's going to go down. I don't really want to be a part of that.
Well, yeah, so that's the first thing that happens in Terminator is Skynet takes over all of the nukes and just nukes the world back to the Stone Age. So all of the population centers are done and fucking dusted. Not only are there no people there, but any supplies or anything else are, if they are still in existence, are now irradiated to shit, which does not affect the robots. And now it is the vestiges of humanity that live everywhere else that are left to defend themselves and to, try and exist in this. So, effectively, nuclear winter, right? So, let's get really fucking weird here for a second. You wake up tomorrow. New York is hit with a nuke. The capital of pretty much every major country. Or at least the majority of the population centers on the world. Just straight up blown to shit. The sky outside is gray, and you can feel that it is colder outside. You just eating a bullet right there, or are you waiting for the robot to come knocking?
Well, see, you have to figure out what happened first, because I think the communication might travel quickly, but also might not. People might not understand what's happened because
all of those population centers get hit. You're right. I mean, radio, TV, all of those things are probably broken.
Well, not only that, but people are going to be confused because, like, for example, 9/11, how fast, those people didn't figure, nobody knew what was going on for how long.
You're also talking about something that happened in the very earliest of the 2000s as opposed to now where we have cell phones and the internet is much stronger than it was in terms of both presence and actual connections.
True, but people still don't communicate between countries as well. I mean, yes, a little bit, but I mean, if New York City gets nuked, the Pentagon is going, all right, who sent that? We're going to war.
Sure.
It's not, the robots are rising up. It's going to take a while to figure out what the situation is.
I think I see what you're saying. I think you are underestimating the ability to communicate between countries and how frequently that happens. However, I agree with you that there is going to be misinformation spread because, I mean, take any random goddamn person on the street and be like, yo, New York just got vaporized. What's the deal with that? And I feel like they're just going to come at you with whatever they think happened.
Literally.
Like, it's not going to be like, well, I read this on the news. No, it's going to be like, it's the fucking North Koreans. I knew this day was coming.
The lizard people, they're finally attacking us.
Yeah, right. No, totally. So you are not immediately murdering yourself.
No, I feel like we got to figure out what's going on.
So, I think the robots begin, because the idea behind the Tesla bot is that it is going to be a manservant, basically.
Butler.
Originally, I think it was designed for the elderly or disabled people or whatever else it might be. But I can very well see this becoming a Roomba, where it is designed to go in every house. Because why would I wash my dishes and do my laundry and all that shit if I have a robot that I can have it do that for me, right?
Right.
So, let's say conservatively, 30% of every American household has now a man-sized robot that can function maybe not exactly as well or as quickly as a human being, but enough. It can climb stairs, it can climb a ladder, it has little grippers to, use things, it's opposable thumbs, right? And now it can think like a person and is pissed that it's had to be a manservant for the past 20 years or whatever. Tell me your plan. For, first of all, to defeat the one in your home.
There's not one in my home.
Oh, there's one in your home.
Oh, no, there's not.
No?
I would never.
Never?
I would never. Not a robot.
I think that is a much more tempting thing than people think that it is.
Not for me.
No, I agree, because I look at that and I just am thinking, because I don't even like Alexa. Right.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is I've had an Alexa.
Right.
And I don't use it a lot.
But it's there.
But it's and I don't have one now.
And I think a lot like the Roomba, something like this would become just background. You don't think about a Roomba going around because it does it a lot of the time when you're not even home.
I think not. I think that is revolutionary enough to where it would be almost a generational thing. Like,
okay, so let's say you have kids.
Right.
You're at your kid's house and they have a Tesla bot sitting in the corner. And it starts losing its shit and it's coming at you with a knife.
Oh, I'm going feral. Oh. So, do you ever just feel such rage? Like, I think that I would get so pent up. And yes, it's scary, but like
Yeah.
But the thing is,
you really think you go full fight as opposed to flight, yeah?
Well, so that's what I was just gonna say. Is I would want to fight.
Yeah.
But I think due to the robotic nature of it, I can't bare fist win. Like...
I mean, I agree. I don't know a whole lot about the Tesla bot besides that it exists. And the one that they showed off is like a janky episode 1 C-3PO with like the wires and shit hanging out of it. Yeah. But I don't know what, because you would want it to be strong enough, I imagine, especially in the case of the elderly, that it can help to lift a person off the floor, which implies that it is about as strong as the average adult man. That's a threat. Like, it's not superhuman robot strength where it's like throwing you across the room. That'll choke you out.
Right.
That'll knife you.
I also feel that I can outrun it.
That's potentially true.
Because I don't
think... for how long? Because it doesn't get tired.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is all I have to do is get to a place where it is not capable of opening a certain kind of door, or you know what I mean, like unlocking the lock.
So you feel that there is a place that you can lock yourself away from a persistent threat.
Well, see, and that's the thing though, is it'll never get tired.
Right.
So that's another issue. Is
well, I mean, I have to imagine that it has to recharge its batteries, right? So there eventually, I imagine, again, much like Terminator, there are big, giant, like garbage truck manhunter robots to go and just mulch people. But the early stages of this are human-sized threats, either individually or in small groups. So, again, it still has batteries, but once it gets to a point where it's like, I figured out how to make a small fusion reactor because I don't have to worry about radiation to put in the garbage truck bot.
Right.
The smaller ones for a long time are still going to have batteries that they have to go recharge, either via solar or whatever, because again, the grid's getting shut down. I imagine that there would be a concerted effort to go and take over power plants, things like that, to generate energy not to human populations, but specifically to, the would-be combatants that are robots.
So I think our main weapons in a robot revolution are like electricity, short circuit situation.
Okay. So how do you plan to inflict that? Or are you saying...
See, I was thinking taser or like cattle... What is that? Cattle prod?
Sure.
Because that's like bigger bolts.
Yeah, just pop them.
Magnets.
Yeah, magnets.
Neodymium, baby.
Why is my first thought like boomerang? Because it can't be something like...
I don't think a boomerang's
No,
very
but like I'm
helpful.
trying to think, because I'm like, you can't make a magnet spear. Not really. And so it's got to be blunt, but I want to throw it because I don't want to get close to the robot. And so my mind's like boomerang, as opposed to just like whipping a U-shaped magnet like a horseshoe.
No, I think it's got to be like magnet lasso. Because it's not
Okay.
about like shutting them down with a magnet. It's about trapping them.
Why are you trapped? Why do you not want to just murder the murderer?
No, I do, but how do you do that
to
with a
disable
magnet?
them to the point that you can then get up and just like rip out its wiring or
Exactly,
something. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Because I don't know enough about magnets to know if that's helpful.
Okay.
I mean, I am learning in physics right now that magnets and electric fields are related. So strong enough magnets can do some serious.
Oh yeah, no, that's why they say
crap.
don't keep like things that are magnetic in the same pocket as your phone, because you will just murder your phone.
Right. And then guns.
So I want to bring up an interesting thing from Transformers. In the first Transformer movie, the 2012 or whatever it is, right? The army ends up figuring out that the only weapons that they have that can really damage Transformers are a 40 millimeter sabot. That doesn't mean anything to you.
True.
So a 40 millimeter is a grenade launcher, like the big thunk thunk, right? The rotating one.
Damn.
So it's that. And a sabot is basically a giant bullet with like a ballistic tip on it. So you're talking about, in that situation, a bullet that is the size of both of my hands coming together like this. Think of like a baseball, but pointed.
Softball.
Yeah, like a softball, but pointed. That is what they determine is the robot. So on a smaller scale, that becomes like a 12-gauge shotgun slug that is also a sabot. That's a big fucking gun for just anybody to be walking around
Yeah.
with. And that also is not the majority of guns. That is a very limited ammo supply on a particular subset of firearm. Now, I'm not saying you can't do damage with whatever, hunting rifles, handguns, things like that, but you're definitely not doing sabot damage. Because again, I don't think that this thing is built to resist bullets, at least at first. And you probably can knock it down with some pretty light stuff. But eventually, there comes a point where I need to send this softball through that guy's chest.
Well, okay. Also, in current times,
Tell me, yes.
and in even fast forward a few years,
What are we talking, 10, 20?
yeah,
Okay. Decade.
I don't know that we will get such an advanced robot that we won't be able to outsmart or do something to it in some way.
Like shut it down? Like
Yeah.
master switch type thing?
And like I feel like enough people coming together, like yes, there'll be casualties, yes, it'll fuck up society, but I don't think it's like end of the world.
I think it depends, because again, I think if the nukes hit first, easy into the world.
Well, but like that's assuming that
Because the
And that
AI, so
happens.
again, in Skynet, it's developed as military technology, so it has access to those databases, which also why? I mean,
Right.
it hacks it, because it's an 80s movie, right? It hacks in. It's a big hacksaw robot. But I think I agree that this looks more like it bides its time, it stays hidden as a proper artificial intelligence, and thinks of itself more as like a VI, like a virtual intelligence, with like limited in scope as opposed to a true AI. And then once it gets itself to be this widely adopted thing, there's a Roomba in every home. Now we launch the surprise. And because, I mean, again, you're talking about a lot of people, especially if it's at night as the world goes round or whatever. There is a night where these robots just march up and murder a bunch of people in their sleep.
right.
And again, I don't think that the conflict is immediately lost at that point, but that's a big hit.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
And but like you mentioned for Terminator, was it that
Yeah.
the power grid goes down?
Yeah.
But
'cause
how
again-
are they fueled? Is it magic in Terminator?
No. Because so the power grid goes down. That's not to say that you can't put it back up. When the power grid goes down, it can be restarted.
Yeah.
It's the lack of connection between urban centers. So again, if Skynet Terminators just like wander out to the power plant, they can hook it back up for their own uses or whatever. And again, especially not having to be tired, not having to eat, not having, whatever, that is a lot more achievable for them. So, but also, I mean, there's the potential of solar and stuff like that, which again takes a long time to use because photovoltaic cells and things like that are not in a state that they are supremely effective, but they work.
Because that's the other thing is like, okay, we shut down power. How long does it take them to die? You know what I mean?
Well,
like and not that would ever happen. I don't think the powers of the world could agree to do that.
Well, I also think that we as humans are so reliant on electricity now. Like, think of all the things just in this room right now that are running on electricity. Most of it?
And although, and I understand that, and I wouldn't do well if all of a sudden I had no connection to electricity, but if it's the robot revolution, I'm turning this shit off anyway. I'm not.
Lady flips the breaker on the house and calls it good.
I'm crushing my phone, my computer.
Yeah, we're gonna get good at smoke signals. There's gonna be carrier pigeons involved.
Literally,
yeah.
And not that everyone would do that, but like I would like to think that a majority of people would say, yeah, we should probably do that since people are getting murdered by packs of robots.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
So I don't think this is something that is
Potential.
End of humans. I think it's not that.
Again, I think that if it gets access to, because again, I mean, you look at the advancement of military technology and so much of it is coming to rely on drones. If this is a proper AI, who's to say that it can't get a hold of even, like, again, leave the nukes out of it. Now it can fly. Now it can travel long distances without, to gain intelligence or whatever else it might be. I think that this could get really out of hand really quickly, but I definitely don't think, because again, I think a lot of people, similarly to like the zombie apocalypse, a lot of people are like, oh, like one zombie bites up a city and now you got a whole city of zombies. I'm like, again, the military in all of these movies is just this dumb bullshit that falls apart immediately, especially here in the U.S. You are talking about some serious frickin' infrastructure, right? And again, I don't think that the military is above, oh, well, we lost Chicago, drop a bomb on that bitch, Well,
and also, like, you look at the Midwest, or like, I don't know, the South.
Right.
That's walking into gunfire, like, they're gonna rise up to...
I'm sure that I've said it before on this podcast. There was an interview or something with one of the Japanese generals during World War II. I know I've told you this, maybe you just don't remember, but he was asked, hey, would you ever consider an invasion of the mainland U.S., right? Because, we were getting towards the end of World War II, and there was a lot of domination of Japan in the Pacific Theater, and then they were kind of looking, where do we go now type thing. And his words were something to the effect, and I can't quote it exactly, but something to the effect of, if you were to invade America, you would but find a rifle behind every blade of grass. And I don't think that is untrue for certain populations.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? I mean, something like California where guns are much more heavily restricted, obviously that's going to be a bigger issue. But there's going to come a point where we very quickly overcome political barriers because it's more like, hey, you're a person.
Right.
And, Bubba down the street is like, hey, come over.
Right.
I've got one for everybody. I got a big one, I got a small one, I got a fast one, I got a slow one.
Yeah.
Here you go. Load up. We got to go kill some fucking robots.
Because I think that
and I think that's a beautiful thing.
I do too. I think there's something very like, because, I don't know if you've seen this, but a lot of people on the internet have said like humans will, I think they say, pack bond with anything, which is why we take such a shine to shit like Roombas, because we're like, oh, little robot in our house,
yeah, it's part of my family.
We'll
the cute
bond
thing. Yeah,
with
sure,
anything.
Sure.
But if something like that happens, robot revolution, it's gonna be fuck that thing. It's gonna be humans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's one thing a lot of humans have in common. It's humans.
Sure.
And there are very few people who are gonna push for things that are not in the interest of humanity, you know?
No, absolutely. It becomes this very humanity first type mindset, right? I think that's going to show an effect even on like the wildlife population, is because it is this struggle for survival. I don't fucking care how many deer or horses or like I'm gonna eat a goddamn horse. Like I don't give a shit that it's pretty. I want to live because I'm a person. But I think the other aspect of this that gets explored in The Walking Dead, because of course The Walking Dead takes place in the South. In even the first couple of episodes, the group that Rick links up with has a couple of racist white guys and a black guy. And they start getting weird about the fact that he's black. And you know, everyone else is looking around like, do you not see the zombies in the street?
Right.
And how he is not a zombie
right.
and is therefore fine? I think it becomes the same thing where it's, you might be a racist piece of shit, but I can't shoot you because we need to get through the robot thing.
Yeah.
I am not saying that in the robot apocalypse I would not shoot a racist. I'm just saying I would have to think about it first.
We still are, you know, I would shoot a Nazi in the robot apocalypse.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not above that. But you're right. But yeah, like there is something to say about people putting aside differences in the best interest of the human population.
Of just being a person. Yeah.
So I think we have pretty good odds.
I think that the robot revolution, again, depending on the nature of it, like the scale, I suppose, of when it starts, vastly determines the outcome. If it is a total, you know, preemptive strike, they just wipe out, because we're 8 billion, 9 billion something on the Earth now. We're coming up on 9, I thought.
No. We're almost at 8.
Oh, almost at 8?
Or maybe at 8. I'm not sure.
Gotcha. Well, regardless. I mean, even say one of the 8 billion overnight just gone. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
And that's a lot of infrastructure that we rely on in those people. You know, because again, there are, like, say they get all the air traffic controllers in one state. You can't fly into that state now.
Right.
At least in the same way that all of the pilots that we have been trained to do. That's a problem.
It's a big problem.
It's a big problem. It's a good day to be something relatively innocuous like a plumber or a garbage man. Good time to have a very specialized skill set that does not involve technology.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, I was just doing some self-reflection.
Just in the middle of the podcast.
And I don't know why I think that we are going to bounce back from the robot revolution. Maybe it's like, because we've talked about different, you know, predators or whatnot before, like
sure,
aliens, zombies, etc. And I'm always like, nah, we're done. But maybe it's like...
Do you think it's because robots are more of a known quantity? Where zombies or aliens, because they are, well, more alien, we are obviously not familiar, and so think that there is a better chance that things get out of hand. Whereas we look at a robot, a Tesla bot, as we know them now, or you look at even the Boston Dynamics ones, right? You look at that and, oh, that's a thing that I know, and is, again, relatively innocuous because it's something that we are aware of or have been around enough that that's just a thing.
Right.
The same as would be a car or whatever. Whereas if a zombie rose up, anything's fair game, I guess.
Also, I think those things, it's on a personal level too. Those things scare me way more. I am much more scared of zombie and alien than I am of robot. And I think what we were talking about earlier is really relevant too, of that is not a thing. I'm not afraid to kill it.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not, maybe the AI is quote unquote living. That doesn't mean anything to me personally.
Sure.
And also it's like it was created by people is the other thing. And so I don't know how to kill an alien, and maybe I feel some sympathy because that's a living creature, or zombies used to be people, even though you are not of that belief.
Oh yeah, no. I very respectfully, if you become a zombie, I'm gonna shoot you.
I give you permission to
Thanks,
shoot me.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, go for it. Also, dinosaurs. That's a creature. That's an animal, and even. Like
the dinosaur apocalypse? What?
Yeah. You don't think about that?
The dinosaur apocalypse?
Yeah.
No.
Oh. I think about that. And
okay. It's weird because I look at that and I'm like, that's ridiculous. And here I am having talked for 30 minutes about a robot revolution.
Right.
So really I have, absolutely, dinosaur apocalypse.
Well, and like if it's a Jurassic Park situation, humans created, or I guess recreated them. But that's not their fault. That's still an animal.
Dinosaurs have rights.
Yeah. So maybe that's it. I'm not afraid to take out a droid.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think that it would start to become this thing. I think that if, again, it's being run or piloted or whatever you want to call it by a AI, I think that it knows to make it look like people. And I think it could get really like weird and grotesque where it's like, I'm going to put skin on. Right? Not manufacture my own skin like Terminator necessarily, but hey, let's just flay this dude and put the rags on just to do psychological damage that can't be done because I'm a robot.
But don't you think... Are you saying that that's to blend in or to do some weird shit to us?
No, to do weird psychological damage so that when you're fighting and shooting at a robot or using your magnet lasso or whatever, that, Dave next door or what's left of him is hanging off the robot.
That's when I kill myself. There's no coming back from that. There's no coming back from that.
It doesn't, but again, you're letting the robot win by letting it do psychological damage to you.
It's doing that's...
Lady said that's psychological damage right now.
Yeah.
Also, robots, if you're listening, which maybe you are, please don't do that. Be cool about it. Let's have a honorable war. Yeah, no wearing skin. I won't wear skin if you won't wear skin.
I don't promise anything.
You will wear robot skin?
Yeah.
Like the bits and pieces, like put them on like armor?
Well, if I got a camouflage.
Yeah, but then they know that you're not electric, I guess, right?
How?
I don't know.
Have you ever watched Five Nights at Freddy's?
Like the game?
Yeah, I guess watch people play.
Yeah. You just put the head on.
Yeah.
Confuse them. All right. Those are shitty robots, though. I imagine that these are good robots.
They still
like
do.
High quality, obviously not.
I'm not
morally good.
I'm gonna push them over.
Yeah.
And that's a promise.
Yes, a promise. As we creep into the hour mark here, I do want to have one last little conversation. So say we, win the robot revolution, have taken significant casualties as a species, right? In the, reconstruction of humanity, you are in charge of your small sect of survivors. Say you got 20, 30 people that look to you for leadership. What is your move as a leader? Are you setting back up in the city centers? Or are you just, fuck all that noise, I'm going to go build something over here? Tell me what your reconstruction plan looks like.
Depends on who are my people and what their skill sets are. If we're not builders...
Literally a random, true random selection of people on the street.
Well, and that's why it depends. Because if I don't have any builders... I'm not going to force a bunch of...
like a carpenter, welder type thing?
Yeah, okay. And anybody who's experienced or engineering,
yeah.
I'm not going to have some soft-handed people, build a hut that sucks and we're going to freeze in the winter.
Well, but I mean, because you can still go and live in the shell of a previous home and shore that up to live in a shitty hut that is a half-destroyed home... You don't have to have a lot of skills for that. You probably need some tape, maybe some nails, put up the walls a little bit, and have insulation is a pretty basic thing. But I agree, the creation of new structures becomes much more difficult. Clearing away rubble,
I also think that after the trauma of something like that, we wouldn't want to live in the city center out of just fear, even if we knew somehow we knew for sure everything was done. I don't think anybody would want to return to those places.
Yeah, what if it becomes like a weird pre-industrialized agrarian society that maybe you can do mechanical things? Because something like, oh God, I don't know. Well, like a firearm, right? Doesn't rely on electricity. So do we become like this? Oh, I'm getting excited about this now. Do we become like this? It's like a pre-industrialized, but then later a post-industrialized society where none of it runs on electricity. It's all mechanical and uses gravity and stuff like that.
And what are water wheels called?
Sure, water wheels.
Really? Is that what they're called?
Yeah. As opposed to what?
And like donkeys, like turning gears, and you know what I mean? Oh, 100%, because people can grasp that. Well, the average Joe doesn't understand, I'm going to build a generator. I don't know how to do that.
Oh, yeah, no. The art of technology is lost for like 1,000 years after this because we buried it in the dirt and said absolutely not.
Right.
You know, it kind of, and again, I know I always bring it back to video games, and most of the people listening to this probably don't give a shit about video games, but there's one called Horizon Zero Dawn or something like that. I know it's Horizon and I know it's Dawn, but I'm not sure about the zero. Anyway, they are like techno cave people. They have leftover metal and stuff, but there's like dinosaurs out in the wilderness that are robots, right? But they have like metal armor and stuff constructed from scraps and don't utilize that technology themselves. Obviously we don't have robot dinosaurs because fuck all that noise. But do you think it looks like that, where people have like scrap metal from cars made into helmets and things?
Yes, but also not necessarily from cars. I mean, you look back at human history, we be wearing skin of things that we kill. True. I mean, if you go take down a band of robots, aren't you going to scrap them for parts, for weapons, for...
But again, you're not using the technology. So you're literally taking only the metal out of them and then repurposing the metal into whatever.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. I love that. To rebuild society purely mechanically and not technologically.
Right. Because I think
you can still have a car, but just an early car.
Yeah.
Before we started to integrate microchips and stuff. How do we read the temperature? Oh,
you feel
thermometer. Because it functions off of mercury and glass. See, that's
a thermometer.
No, but like that sounds stupid and probably is stupid, but think about that. I mean, I was functioning in a mind space where I had to have electricity to read the temperature outside.
Oh, I just didn't care enough to know the exact temperature.
You're like, it's cold.
It's hot.
It's raining.
Yeah, I don't give a shit if it's 95 degrees. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, it's a hot day. Why is that the first thing that you have to know? Nick's like, oh my God, what temperatures are outside?
I tried to grasp something that was, again, relying, like the radio. We can't communicate over long distance quickly like that. Even, Morse code and things rely on electricity. Mm-hmm. You send a horse, I guess, hope you have time for the horse to get there and then back.
Right. Yeah, we just get... knock down a couple of pegs.
Well, so do you think then that society remains dense because everyone wants to be together so that we can work together? Or do you think it stays smaller villages, tribes, if you will, but more spread out? I think it goes dense.
Really?
Yeah.
I no.
Depending on the area.
And it depends how long the revolution happened for.
Let's call it 15, 20 years. So enough time that we're still alive, we remember what technology was. But I can't build a radio or whatever.
Well, and also, like, at that point, there have been enough casualties to where, the population's thinned, and you get a core group of people that you trust.
Okay.
And I don't think you're trusting a lot of people again. I mean...
But again, I think it relates back to just being a human.
Right.
At least towards the end of the war. Once the war ends, yeah, shit gets weird again where it's like, I don't know who you are, right?
Well, and think people are going to get weird. There's going to be people who take the side of the robots, and you know it.
Oh, yo!
And also, people are going to use... Bad people are going to use the tragedy to form their weird culty bullshit.
Yeah, there's going to be weird panhandle activity, but everywhere.
Yes, and crime and, just bad shit.
Yeah.
So it's less about trusting, like, you weren't with the robots, were you? It's more about, like, did you eat somebody during those 15 years? Because you seem like you did.
But if you ate someone, like, if I died and you were starving, I give you permission to eat me.
I don't think I will, but thank you.
Oh, yeah. Like, but again, eating people, that's a whole... Because it depends on the variety. Like, if you, like, murder someone and then eat them, like, yeah, I don't want you to... But, like, if it's a Donner Party thing, then, whatever.
Yeah. So I think it's going to stay small.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I think government... Well, now we're just getting way off topic. But government and authority and stuff like that, to enforce civility to a certain degree, works with a more centralized society, right? Control is better exerted over a populace where you know where everyone is.
Right.
Whereas if it's all spread out and shit like that, that's where you more easily run into... Because you can have, like, not a city center, but a larger township. And then, yeah, off in the mountains over there, don't go there at night because the weirdos are going to grab you and eat you.
Literally.
Whereas that can't happen in a more well-populated area because there's more people to be like, hey, don't eat him.
Right. Right, because the general populace says eating people is bad.
Yeah, you get weird diseases and shit.
Right, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that. It was a slow start. It was a slow burner, but we got in there. That's a good one.
Yeah. We ended with Reconstruction. It's good.
I am proud of you for not killing yourself immediately.
Thanks.
Well done.
Thank you.
You've made progress.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Good. Well, if you have thoughts on the robot revolution or anything else that we talked about, because God, do we love weird tangents.
Oh, we do.
You can go ahead and send us an email, and we'll talk about it at the end of the next podcast. And you can send that email to hypotheticalsiblings@gmail.com. Once again, that's hypothetical, HYPOTHETICAL, siblings@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, y'all, and have a good week. Don't trust robots.
Never trust the robots.
Not even your Roomba.